Welcome to another episode of BurqueñoBQ. Today we're making a red chili enchilada sauce, and you can use this on tons of foods. Here in New Mexico, we put it on just about everything. Today I'm going to actually be putting it in Posole. If you want to see the video for this Posole, check out the link in the description below. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscription and the bell button down below so you get notified every time that we put out a new video. And you can visit nmbbqtrue.com to see all of our merchandise, past videos, and videos that might be coming up. So to make this red chili, it's pretty simple. I'm doing a pretty large batch, about 3.5 quarts, but normally I would do this about 2 quarts at a time. The recipe for every 2 quarts, you're going to want 1 tablespoon of Herbs de Provence, 1 tablespoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of garlic salt, garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of salt. That's everything that goes in this, except for just some water and some cornstarch to thicken it. For the water, I use 1/4 of the volume of the chili sauce that I start with. And that's 2 reasons. One, this stuff's pretty hot. Add some water, it dilutes it a little bit and cuts down the heat. But also, a bit of it is going to boil off while it goes up to a boil like you see I have here. And then I can thicken it back down to the texture I want. So once the sauce has reached a boil, it doesn't need to be a really heavy boil. You don't want it splattering everywhere because this stuff is a mess to clean. You can just put all your seasonings in and give it a nice stir. Now, if it does start to splatter and it gets on your clothes, it'll look like the stain is really bad, but a little trick that we New Mexicans know is to just, before you wash it, let it sit out in the sun in direct sunlight, and the sun will actually start to break down that stain, and then you can use some stain remover before you put it in the wash, and most of the time that'll get it out quick. If that doesn't work, leave it in the sun again and it should come out just fine. I've had to do that many a time myself. But now I've got my seasonings in here. I'm going to turn the heat back up just a little bit to get it back up to a little bit of a boil. So if you've never used cornstarch as a thickener before, it's really easy. You just want about equal parts cornstarch and water. Because this is a pretty big batch, I've put together 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, 4 tablespoons of water. But I'm not necessarily going to add all this. It's better to have too much while you're cooking, because if you end up not having enough, you have to go back and make another mixture. This makes it really easy to make sure I can get the right mixture of the right thickness the first time. So now I see some bubbles popping up again. I've just recently stirred this cornstarch, so it's all suspended, and I'll just begin stirring it in a little bit at a time. Up the heat a little more. You want to keep the bubbles going throughout the process of adding the cornstarch. And make sure to stir around the bottom edges. Some of the chili flakes in here can sometimes clump at the bottom edges, and they won't bind with a thickening agent, and it can reduce the quality of the end product. Oh, now my Posole is boiling a little too rapidly here. Finally got up to temperature, so I'll turn that down to a simmer. And you know what? This was a huge batch. It looks like I am going to end up using all of this cornstarch. And you can start to tell when the thickening is done. You can see the difference in the bubbles. Now the bubbles are kind of a little bit bigger because they're going through thicker stuff, so it has to get up to a higher temperature, more energy, and you can just see that it's not quite so much as a watery texture as it was before. It's sticking to the spoon a lot more and flowing off rather than just pouring off when I take the spatula out. And really, that's all there is to it. Making a really tasty red chili sauce is very easy. If you like this video and want to see more, or of course check out that Posole video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. And like I said before, visit our website, nmbbqtrue.com. Thanks for joining us.